Hey everyone, thank you for joining another Slim Sports interview. As always, I'm your host JD. Joining me today is a 5'8" guard that has spent the past 5 years at Manhattan College and is now making her way to Rhode Island to play in the Atlantic 10 next year. My friend Dee Dee Davis.
Davis fires away for three.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining me today, Dee Dee.
Of course, anything for you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely appreciate having you on. And I've been a fan of yours for a little bit. I have a couple of friends that have played in the conference that you play in at there on the men's side. But then every once in a while, I'll see some of the women's games. And obviously, you being one of the top players in that conference, your name definitely sticks out because they're saying it every 5 seconds. So over the past 5 years, you've gotten to have so many great games there, so many phenomenal experiences at Manhattan. Talk to me real quick about what these past 5 years have meant to you.
They've meant everything to me. That's it's a loaded question, because not only has it meant everything and then some, it's been everything for me. Because Manhattan was essentially my only offer when it was time for me to make a decision. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the way my cards were dealt. And that was because I actually got injured before coming into high school, and so that really limited my options in terms of the colleges and universities that were recruiting me. And again, fine by me. I'm very grateful for the way everything went down. And so for Manhattan to take that chance on me, this essentially this injury-prone player, they really didn't know what they were getting into when they were recruiting me, because it was almost like we were on a time crunch, if you will. And so to just reflect back on my time and just to think, man, this school, they gave me a chance, and they gave me an opportunity, and I'm just so grateful, and I'm so thankful to God that I was able to turn that into something that can be memorable. Turn that into something that people can look upon and look back on and say, man, this girl really, she did her thing during her time at the program, or within the program. And so Manhattan has been my home for the past 5 years. It really always will be. And I'm just extremely grateful that I get to leave the program on such good terms with everyone. There's nothing but love from me to my coaches and vice versa, as well as my teammates. So in a nutshell, Manhattan's meant absolutely everything for me.
Yeah, you've, like I've said, past 5 years, a lot of accomplishment, a lot of scoring, a lot of rebounding, assists all across the board. You finished your career there with over 1,500 points, over 500 rebounds, 248 assists, 193 steals. And you were doing that from your freshman year. Your freshman year, you went in and you started off, you were kind of coming off the bench here and there, and then you cracked that starting rotation, averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds a game. But towards the end of that season, you ended up tearing your ACL right when you were on track to win Freshman of the Year in that conference. Of course, it ended up going to Lou Lopez Sinetchel, who's now playing in the WNBA. So that's great company to be among with. What was that like for you during that freshman year, getting everything going, starting to get, this college experience off on the right track, and then boom, ACL gets torn and now you're sidelined?
Oh, it was so disheartening. It really was, if I'm being honest and transparent. And that's because I actually tore my other ACL a few years prior. So I tore, I think, my left in high school, my junior year. And so, anybody who's ever had a significant injury that sidelined them, they know that once you get cleared, you're not really yourself. Those first couple of go rounds, and it takes a while for you to get into a flow. And so, with that in mind, tearing my ACL for the first time as a junior in high school. My senior year playing, I didn't really feel like I was myself. I felt like it was nice to sort of get back out there and play under the whistle, but I'm not sure if I really have my feet under me yet. And so my freshman year, it felt amazing because, as you said, I really started to put together good games. I started to crack that starting rotation and get in the mix, along with those upperclassmen guards who were starting. And so just when I finally found my footing, yeah, I tore my other ACL on my right leg, and it was just extremely disheartening because you never want something like that to happen. And I'm really grateful for it though. And so there are some people who I talked to, some freshmen. I mean, even a freshman who came in this year on my Manhattan College team. She redshirted her freshman year. She was not happy about it. At the beginning when she made that decision, her and her coach. and I talked to her and I let her know like this is about to be very hard. It's a very, very hard process, but I think that anybody who redshirts, it's a separation year. It's something that's personal, and so no shame to the people who have never redshirted before, but those who have know that that year is a transformation year. That year is something that you cannot take for granted. It's not like I have a year off because you don't. It's actually double the pressure. It's double down because you just essentially sat out a year to everyone else who's not you. So you should really be on it. You should really be on your stuff the following year. And so again, that year was very hard, but it was a transformational year for me because I really got to just lock in on my schoolwork, on my studies, on my classes, um, as well as my rehab process. I got to attack that in ways that I'm not sure that I would have been able to had I played, because I did get cleared early enough to be able to play that season. But I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. I really wanted to just focus on the rehab and just taking my time. And as I mentioned before in the previous question, you don't feel like yourself after you get cleared. And so I knew what I was getting into, being that I had done it 2 years ago. And so I didn't want to just get cleared and just throw myself out there when I really just started to get my footing towards the ending of this. I hadn't even strung a whole season along where I was feeling comfortable in the MAC. And so yeah, I made the conscious decision to redshirt, and it was really tough during that time. But looking back, it was the biggest blessing. Besides my fiance that I have in my life, I am so appreciative of that redshirt year. It was completely transformational, and it was really a separation year.
Yeah, and that separation year definitely showed for the rest of your career. I know it was definitely tough sitting out, like you said, but you put in that work day after day throughout that second year in college. And it showed your following year, during your third year of college, you ended up being All Mac second team after averaging 13 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.6 steals. And then the next year, you bumped it up even higher. You went to the first team All Mac, 18.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.2 assists, improved your playmaking so much. And then during that fifth year, this past season, again, All Mac first team, 3-time player of the week, 15.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.4 steals. Seems like every year you find some way to improve your game in multiple statistical categories. I mean, average 3 more rebounds this year than you did the previous year, average another whole nother steal, and 6 points from your third year to your fourth year. Absolutely incredible. Talk to me about what you've done throughout these past 5 years to continuously get better in more than just one way.
Yeah, I think that like we keep using the separation word. It's no different in the off season. That it's a time to separate yourself, and it's a time to reflect on what you've done, what you've sort of put together for the previous season, and sort of dissect your game and sit down and say, well, wait a minute, how can I improve X, Y, and Z? And so I love to score the ball. I hope on the scouting report that is what it is for me. She likes to score. She's a scorer. But a couple years ago, I don't know if people would consider me a great passer or even a good passer. So that was something that I really wanted to work on in the off season, and so I did. And so if a lot of small guards don't rebound. It is what it is. A lot of us just, we like to sort of watch our post players do the dirty work, and we like to get the outlet. And I sort of sat down with my coaching staff, or they sat me down. They were like, "What is it going to be this year? What's going to separate you? If you're a 5'8" guard in this league, there's 1,000 of you. So what are you going to do that's going to separate you?" Again, that separation word is so key. It's been key for me my whole life, and it's going to be no different at my next journey. But we sort of realized that, never mind, and there's no other guard who's rebounding the ball at 7.8, almost 8 rebounds a game. Why can't I do that? And so it was like I've taken the time to work on things like that you don't necessarily work on in the offseason. Yes, we're all working on drills and shot making and shot creating and accuracy and efficiency, passing as well. But something that I've implemented this past year and that I plan on continuing to work on is timing my jumps. How high can I jump? How effective are my jumps? Am I jumping at the right time? my hip flexors, flexor strengthening, abdominal muscles in order to get me off the ground quick enough to get the ball out of people's hands, to jump over people. And so it's really just coming down to a matter of what can I do, and sort of reflecting on the previous year and saying, what can I do to add on to my game? And what are people at my position doing that I'm not, and vice versa? And so it's always a good time when you're able to when the season comes to a close and you're able to just look back and say, what can I add? It's pretty fun, you know? So this year, you know, I know that I've established myself as a decent rebounder at the point guard position. So that's important for me. That's going to be another separator, I think, at the next level. I've got to be able to hit a knockdown three automatically. That's something that I've been keying on every single day in the off season. Playmaking as well, knowing not just how to pass the ball, but when to, you know, in terms of, or referring to, if I pass the ball to my post player who's rolling and she's wide open, that's one thing. But if I pass the ball to my post player and she's rolling and there's somebody waiting there to take a charge, that's not a good pass. And so it's just, you know, sort of dissecting your game and being didactic to the point where you set people up for success. And so that's what I want. I know that my teammates want the same from me. And so this offseason is just going to be about how can I be a mature leader? How can I increase my IQ to just separate my game from the next?
Yeah, absolutely. You've definitely improved in a lot of different aspects other than scoring. But that scoring obviously was still there. I mean, you ended the regular season with 6 straight games of 20+ points during those games. You had one game against Siena, 37 points and 11 rebounds, 28, 6-6 against Canisius, and then against Long Island University to end the non-conference play. You had your triple double, 13, 13, and 10. Absolutely phenomenal numbers, especially coming from a point guard that's, like you said, 5'8". Not very many 5'8" guards going for those rebounds. You were getting double-digit rebounds every other night, it seemed like. So you definitely did a great job for your team, who, as a whole, you guys kind of had a back and forth season. Overall, you guys went 16-7, 10-10 in conference play. Ended up making a good run in that postseason conference tournament. Talk to me about this past season as a whole. What was that experience like for you and your team, and what really clicked when the conference tournament came around that gave you guys that push?
You know, the word adversity has come up more times than I can count for this past season, and that is completely correct. You know, it's just, it is what it is. We've just had some adversity. You know, we've had girls who are out, girls who are in, people coming in and out of the rotation, but that can't be a factor. You know, there should be no distractions. There should be no excuses. And so I will say that we unfortunately allowed some adversity to just rattle us at times, especially at the beginning of the season. You know, we started out playing probably the top 3 or 4 teams back to back to back coming into this season, coming into conference play rather, with essentially a brand new team. You know, there was a few pieces returning, and for the most part, those pieces that did return didn't really play the previous year, so the experience didn't really show, or it wasn't there rather. And so, you know, looking back on the season, I think that adversity is a word that would get brought up, but as you mentioned, the ending there, you know, we made another push. There's no 6th seed in the MAC who's ever gotten to the championship game, but we did that despite the adversity, and that's just sheer hard work and will. Like, we just, listen, we packed for that post tournament, for that trip, and we were meticulous about what we were packing, about when we were packing, about what we were wearing, about which restaurant we were going to after we celebrated each win. Like, we were very methodical with our mentality, really. And so that carried us. You know, we didn't come to the tournament and we didn't get there thinking, man, we had a pretty tough season. We faced some adversity. We're probably going to lose the second game, or maybe the third. Like, no, we were like, that's fine. You know, we had a pretty tough season, but who cares? Like, first of all, I don't need to talk about what March means to certain teams. Like, March is clearly, it's anybody's show. You know, whoever gets hot, essentially, whatever team starts to click, whatever team has those moving pieces fall into place first is who's going to really get it done and make that run. Unfortunately, we lost in the championship game, as you know, to Iona, but I think that to do some of the things that we were able to do as the season progressed was really phenomenal, and it really speaks to the team's mentality in terms of how we operate, and just just dogs, like just people who are like, I don't really care about the past. We just gotta stick together right now, and we've got to allow our hard work to show and live with the results. And so, overall, the season again was not what we wanted, as we did not win the championship game, but we surely accomplished some other goals that we set out for, that no other team can say they did. And again, that being a 6 seed, beating every team in front of us, to get to that championship game, to stay all weekend in Atlantic City, and to be able to play on that championship Saturday. Again, unfortunately, we fell short, but I'm really proud of that group. I really am.
Yeah, you guys made a great push right there at the end, and you gave Iona a run for their money. It's not like, they mopped the floor with you guys. You guys gave them a tough fight. You yourself, you always fight every single game. And this whole season was, a great experience for you and your teammates. Your whole career has been absolutely phenomenal with Manhattan. Now you're deciding to move on. You entered the transfer portal. Now you're going to be heading to Rhode Island. Before I get into the stuff with Rhode Island, what was it that really went through your mind when deciding to enter the transfer portal? What kind of triggered that?
Um, a host of things, if I'm being honest. Whether it was from an academic standpoint, just wanting to be somewhere that had some more options. Manhattan, again, it's a beautiful place. It's been really good to me. But on the academic side, as a graduate student, there's only but so many programs there, that you can get into, with a certain background. Which is, mine is sociology, specifically, and I have a concentration in law and law enforcement, and so I really wanted to stick to something along that route. In Manhattan, they had a few programs that really sparked my interest, but I knew that having a 6th year, which is rare, that's something that not a lot of people get. But fortunately, I was able to get my 6th year, and so I figured I kind of just wanted to explore my options and see what else was out there. And that for me, that was at Rhode Island. And athletically, Manhattan, we got to the championship game 2 years in a row, and we fell short. And so for me, it's like I only have one more year to do this thing. Rhode Island, they have a track record of winning. They have a track record of bringing in amazing pieces, amazing graduate guards who are able to contribute to that winning culture. And so it was a perfect fit, really. We're looking to obviously do some, even to go above and beyond, this upcoming year. But I wanted to go to a program that's all about winning. I wanted to go to a program that sort of treats their players like pros. Everybody's all about the same goal. Everybody has the same vision in mind, at the end of the day. And so again, Rhode Island really did it for me there in that capacity as well. And then the coaching staff, and for me, head coach Tammy Reese, she's everything that I look up to in terms of a leader. She's, whether it's her family life, her family style, whether it's her faith, what she believes in, the way she carries herself. Again, she's a New York City guard, very, very phenomenal New York player. And so that's amazing, for me, to be able to look up to someone in that head coach position who has been there. She's played at one of the highest levels you can play at in women's basketball. She's done some amazing things. She holds some amazing records in terms of scoring in New York in general. She's really won, wherever she's been, and so that's admirable. Not everybody can say that they were a championship, at just about every level, whether it's high school to now, coaching Division I basketball at the level that she does. And so again, for me, that was pretty admirable, and I look up to and respect what she's done with this program. She's completely transformed the program's history, and I think that's amazing. And that's somebody that I said to myself, that's somebody that I could see myself looking up to, and somebody who I think will be a great role model for me. And so it was really a personal decision. And so that's why I thought Rhode Island was the place to be for me.
Yeah, and you had a lot of offers coming out of Manhattan when you entered that transfer portal. You ended up choosing Rhode Island over schools such as Clemson. Let me see here. Over Clemson, St. John's, Duquesne, Stony Brook. I mean, so many talented programs that have success in winning. Rhode Island, 26-7 last season, 14-2 in conference. They, just like yourself, they made it to the conference championship game in the Atlantic 10, ended up losing to St. Louis, but they got the nod for the NIT, and they made a run in that as well. They have so much talent there. They're going to be bringing back quite a few scores. They're going to be losing Madison Haddix Covington, who averaged 10 points a game for them. their second leading scorer. But they're going to be bringing back Mator, who averaged 13 and a half, Sophie Phillips, who averaged 9, Sayani Lassiter, she averaged 4.5 assists. What are you looking to do for this Rhode Island team next year, right off the bat, to kind of help them succeed and get back to March Madness?
Well, first off, never mind the on the court things or the things that show up in the stat sheet or on the box score. I'm looking to come in and be a great teammate first and foremost. I'm also looking to come in and be a leader. I think that when you look at some of these teams who are doing the things that they're doing all season or in March even, they have players who are absolute floor generals. They have players who are essentially extensions of those coaches that are on the sidelines. So I understand that in order to do what we say you want to do, it's got to translate to the players. It can't just be the coaches, wanting great things for us. And so, I'm going to come in, I'm going to work my tail off and just be an amazing teammate and be a leader as well in any way that I can, whatever that means. And in terms of on the court, I'm going to be myself, and that's just a dynamic scoring guard. I like to have fun. I like to have swag while I'm having fun. I'm looking to be the person that has the same jersey on as me. I'm looking to be their number one fan. I'm looking to be their hype woman, if you will. I'm looking to come in and develop my 3-point shooting as well. I think that's an area that I really have been locked in on in this offseason. Be more of a creator as well, whether that's for myself or my teammates. And I like to play defense and rebound. I really do. It's a good feeling when you get to pick somebody's pocket and it's a clean layup because, for guards like myself, easy shots don't always come every night. And so we're looking to press. I'm looking to come in and turn people over, be an energizer bunny, give lots of love out there, and just be an extension of the coach in any way that I can. So that's what I'm thinking about bringing to Rhode Island.
That's awesome. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to bring that to their team next season. You guys are going to have a great year because, like you said, Rhode Island is known for having those successful seasons. Their coach is one of the top coaches in the country, in my opinion. I've done my research. I've seen what she's done. You're absolutely right. She's awesome, and she's going to help you guys out a lot next season. Thank you so much, Dee Dee, for being on here and doing this interview with me. You have a great story behind you over these past 5 years, and you got one more incredible year coming up. So thank you so much for doing this.
You're the best. Thank you so much. Anything you need, I'm here. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.